Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping of Seafarers, 1978, as amended the Associated Code and Maritime Labor Convention, 2006, require all seafarers and persons employed or engaged on board a ship to have safety familiarization and basic training or instructions before being assigned any shipboard tasks or duties. Safety familiarization training or instruction shall be carried out by a suitably competent person such as a safety officer. Any basic training or instruction, including any in-service or onboard system, shall satisfy the requirements specified regulation 6/1 of International STCW Convention and STCW Code Sections A to 6/1 to 1, A6/1 to 2, A6/1 to 3, and A6/1 to 4 as applicable, and shall take into consideration the relevant IMO model courses. Safety familiarization training. Number 1. Before being assigned to shipboard duties, all persons employed or engaged on a seagoing ship other than passengers shall receive approved familiarization training in personal survival techniques or receive sufficient information and instruction, taking account of the guidance given in Part B, to be able to communicate with other persons on board on elementary safety matters and understand safety information, symbols, signs, and alarm signals. Know what to do if a person falls overboard, fire or smoke is detected, or the fire or abandoned ship alarm is sounded. Identify master and embarkation stations and emergency escape routes. Locate a down life jackets. Raise the alarm and have basic knowledge of the use of portable fire extinguishers. Take immediate action upon encountering an accident or other medical emergency before seeking further medical assistance on board. And the last is close and open the fire, watertight and watertight doors fitted in the particular ship other than those for hull openings. Basic training. Seafarers employed or engaged in any capacity on board ship and business of the ship as part of the ship complement with designated safety or pollution to prevention duties in the operation of the ship shall, before being assigned to any shipboard duties. Number 1. Receive approved basic training of instruction in personal survival techniques as set out in Table A to 6/1 to 1. Fire prevention, firefighting as set out in Table A to 6/1 to 2. Elementary first aid as set out in Table A to 6/1 to 3, and personal safety and social responsibilities as set out in Table A to 6/1 to 4. Be required to provide evidence of having achieved the required standard of competence to undertake the tasks, duties, and responsibilities listed in Column 1 of Tables A to 6/1 to 1, A to 6/1 to 2, and A to 6/1 to 3, and A to 6/1 to 4 through 1. Demonstration of competence in accordance with the methods and the criteria for evaluating competence tabulated in columns 3 and 4 for those tables, and examinations or continuous assessment as part of an approved training program in the subject listed in column 2 of those tables. Seafarers qualified in accordance with paragraph 2 in basic training shall be required every 5 years to provide evidence of having maintained the required standards of competence to undertake the tasks, duties, and responsibilities listed in column 1 of tables A to 6/1 to 1 and A to 6/1 to 2. Parties may accept on-board training and experience for maintaining the required standard of competence in the following areas. 1. Personal survival techniques as set out in Table A to 6/1 to 1. Don a life jacket, board a survival craft from the ship while wearing a life jacket. Take initial actions on boarding a lifeboat to enhance chance of survival. Stream a lifeboat, drogue, or sea anchor. Separate survival craft equipment and operate location devices including radio equipment. Fire prevention and firefighting as out in Table in A to 6/1 to 2. Use self-contained breathing apparatus and effect a rescue in a smoke-filled space using an approved smoke-generating device on board while wearing a breathing apparatus. Exemptions. The administration may, in the case of ships other than passenger ships of more than 500 gross tons, engage in international voyage and tankers exempt seafarers and such a ship or class of ships from some of the requirements if it believes that the ship size and the length of nature of the voyage make application of the full requirements of this section unreasonable or unpracticable, keeping in mind the safety people on board. Procedure for ship familiarization for new crew members and ships. New crew members must be briefed on their responsibilities as well as crucial ship information. This is to guarantee that newcomers on the ship are fully aware of their responsibilities before they begin their duties. The master of the ship must guarantee that each new crew member receives sufficient familiarization training to protect their own safety and ship's well-being. The master will appoint a qualified person to oversee the ship's new crew members' training. Though all new crew members must complete STCW training, there are a few specific instructions that are critical for safe ship operation. The primary goal of the familiarization training is to familiarize the new crew with critical safety measures that must be followed on ships when working or in an emergency. The officer in charge of training is responsible for instructing the new crew on instruction on SOLAS and MARPOL, important features of master list, guidelines on how to tackle all kinds of emergency situations on ships, important documents and publication of ship's fire control plan, different types of firefighting appliances and procedure to use them. Apart from the above-mentioned points, the officer must also ensure that the new crew members know the following: 1. Location of life jackets and immersion suits along with the procedure to wear the life jacket. 2. Location of escape routes. 3. Actions for man overboard situation. 4. Different types of alarms on board ship. 5. Location of his or her cabin along with the location of the nearest escape route and fire extinguisher. 6. Procedure for abandoned ship alarm. 7. His or her duties in the master list and during emergency situations. Basics of fire prevention on ships. Action to be taken in case of medical emergency before further medical assistance is received. Operation for fire and watertight doors 15 on ships. Important instructions on various drills on ships, procedure to operate fire extinguishers, procedure to raise an alarm in case of an accident or emergency. Security familiarization. The security awareness training is known in Brazil as the CFB, and the training can correspond to two EMO model courses depending on whether the seafarer has designated security duties or not. These are Security Awareness Training for Seafarers with Designated Security Duties, EMO Model, Course 3.26. Security Awareness Training for All Seafarers, EMO Model, Course 3.27. All seafarers employed or engaged in capacity aboard ships to which the ISBS code applies should receive security-related familiarization training before being assigned shipboard tasks. The familiarization training is conducted by the ship security officer or another similarly competent individual, and it provides instruction to seafarers so that they can at least report a security incident, know which procedure to follow when they recognize a security threat, and the last is take part in security-related emergency and contingency procedures. These procedures shall be included in the ship security plan and may also be included as part of the shipboard familiarization checklist.